Hi guys, how you doing? Hope you are all doing well. Um, I've been busy with work and my garden for the past couple months, so I haven't had time for any vids. But I've reached the boiling point of listening to this nonsense lately, and I just have to vent about it for a bit. So I'm just going to vent real quick. I've been keeping a list on my whiteboard again of all the nonsense that I've been seeing and hearing. So I'm gonna read the list off real quick so you guys can skip around if you don't care about some of this stuff. The first thing on the list is True Stream Media. The second is Dear Christians. The third is Simpcasts and Simp Ranchers. The next is Billionaires Aren't Your Friend, no matter how many shills they pay to tell you they are. The next is Congressional Hearings, LOL. The next is Minority Pimping by the Smallest Minority. The next is Tabloid Reality and Fake Cancel Culture. The next is Call for an Uprising, Low Impact Shill, and the rest of the Fake Truth Movement. The next is Paid for Popularity. The next is NASA. The next is Information Overload. The next is Johnny Bread and Amber Circus. The next is Censorship. And the next is It's War. So, those are the things I wanted to cover. So, if you get bored of one, you can skip forward to the next, to what you want to hear about. The one thing I do want to say is that I want you to check out this vid I did right here. This one here. Not this vid, actually, but this vid that's in the comments or the description from Dropbox. This was deleted, and it fully calls how the pretendemic is now completely a thing of the past. And this vid was, because I seen this coming long ago, but this vid was taken down so fast, and it calls exactly how this pretendemic was gonna fizzle out to a distant memory. Even when everybody else was saying this was going to go on forever. But just check out this vid. It's pretty much called the end of the pandemic exactly what it was going to be. But so the first thing on my list was True Stream Media. And I don't usually promote anybody on here because none of them are worthy of any promotion at all. But I do feel that True Stream Media has particularly has not sold out. I will say that. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I think all their stuff's good, but I particularly enjoyed these two vids here. Where Did the Rest of the Internet Go? And On the Digital Wall, Part 2. I really enjoyed these vids because it was basically just Melissa trying to come to terms with this nonsense reality that we're all being spoon-fed. It was just basically, it wasn't on any sort of like research topic or anything like that, like most of their vids are. It was just Melissa talking about just well, it does kind of have a topic, but it was basically just her doing like a free flow of thoughts. And kind of like what I'm doing with these vids, but I thought they were spot on. And it's just like listening to whenever I hear somebody and I feel like I'm listening to myself, it just gives me a sense of relief that like, okay, I'm not alone. There is other people who care about reality and do want to try and make this a better place. But I thought these two particular vids were good. So good job, Melissa and Aaron, too. And they were close to they were even Jones employees. That's even crazier because they actually left Jones and are still putting out quality content that isn't compromised at all, which is surprising to me. So good job, guys. All right. So enough of that. Now, the next thing on my list is Dear Christians. And the first thing I want to say is that I was raised Christian. I went to Christian school for 12 years until it closed down, and I hold Jesus and Christianity in very high regards. What I don't hold in high regards are radicalized retards. And my personal, I'm just going to get as down to the brass as close as I can with my personal beliefs so that they can't be misrepresented or whatever. I personally believe that this physical reality that we think we're experiencing is a very, very complex mental simulation of an infinite being. That's my personal feelings on this. That's as far as I'm willing to go. I don't claim to know how it happened, or even I wouldn't even, I don't think we have the senses to understand that. My personal belief is that I think that what we perceive, this physical reality that we exist in, is just a very complex mental simulation of an infinite being. And we perceive these physical things as if they're real and hard, and I would kind of say it's similar to a computer simulation, but it's not a computer simulation. It's a mental simulation of an infinite being. That's my personal beliefs. I wouldn't claim anything to understand how it works or anything like that. I mean, you can gain certain understandings by just close examination of your reality throughout your life and come to certain conclusions and understandings about the way things work. But I think we're very limited with our senses that we have to try and grasp the completeness of the simulation, basically. I think we're very limited. I don't think that's why we were manifested. I don't think that's our purpose here. But I mean, personally, I hold all religions in high regard. The only people that I don't have any respect for are atheists, or people that, I'll say atheists and people that want to create like evil gods and then worship them, which there isn't that many of those people. It's most of the people that are supposed Satanists or Luciferians, they don't believe in any god at all. Most of them are atheists. The people that believe in that worship like Satan and Lucifer and actually believe that they exist it's probably such a small amount of people, but I don't even want to get into that. But the only reason I wanted to kind of touch on the Christians thing is because I put this video up, my last video that I put up, this one here, How to Gain True Understanding of God and Reality by Manly P. Hall. It was just a short quote by Manly P. Hall, who I've listened to thousands of hours of him speak, and I can tell you right now that he's not a Satanist. He believes in a God greater than humanity. All you got to do is just go listen to everything he said. There's thousands of hours of it on the internet. But I posted this vid, and as soon as I did, I had a whole bunch of radicalized Christians jump on there, calling me a Satanist and calling him a Satanist based on a quote that was in a book, and they totally misrepresented the quote. It's just one thing I can't stand. The thing that radicalized Christians have to realize and come to terms with is that the complexity of this system goes much further than what can be gained by reading the Bible. If that's where you're going to stop your understanding of this reality, you're going to have a lot of people who think rationally that are going to have a problem with you, and especially when you start calling them evil because they don't believe what you believe, people aren't going to take you seriously. And I mean, I think that's one of Christianity's biggest, and like I said, I was raised Christian. I have Christian family members. All of my family is Christian. And I don't have a problem with Christians. What I have a problem with is radicalized retards who think that all of reality and the completeness of everything that's ever existed can be understood by reading the Bible. Um, that's where you lose me. And I wanted to touch on that because I was really bashed in this vid here for posting Manly P. Hall, who was a Mason, and as soon as you get into Masonry, and see the problem is that Christians have wrote so much bullshit on anybody who doesn't believe exactly what they believe that they've started to believe their own bullshit. And that's a part of the problem is that if you don't believe what Christians believe, you become some sort of evildoer, and they're going to write books about you and call you an evildoer. And I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. They do it with every other religion, with the exception of Jews, usually. But that's all I wanted to say about that. I'm not any sort of Satanist. I'm not encouraging anybody to go worship any evil entities or anything like that. I was just posting a Manly P. Hall quote that I thought was enlightening. Sorry. But anyway, so that was Dear Christians. The next one is Simpcasts and Simp Ranchers. Now, of course, the biggest one they have right now, the biggest Simpcast and Simp Rancher they have right now is this Shill Rogan. Jones is on his way out. He served his usefulness, and now he's being thrown away. He'll still be used. He's still fully controlled, but everybody's already they already realized what he was, so once people figured him out, he's pretty much useless at that point. So, but there's other ones that are very much more sneaky than even these two are. Rogan's pretty blatant, but there's another one is this Lex guy, Lex Friedman. He's another one of these Rogan wannabes. And the thing with these Simpcasts and these Simp Ranchers is these social engineers and think tanks who control these people and the topics they feed their simps. These people are they're being used to give their simps the reality that they're supposed to exist in and contemplate. And they tell them how they're supposed to contemplate these topics that they feed to them. And these people are being used like they're ranchers, basically. They're simp ranchers. They really are. They get all these people that can't perceive reality for themselves or don't have any desire to put the thought into trying to perceive reality. And they get all these people and they feed them the topics and the reality and they want to tell you how to relate to these topics. They're fully shilled. This Lex Friedman's one. Another one is Jordan Peterson. He's another one. He's another big one. These people are fully controlled. And I'm not saying that everything that these people say are controlled, but because that wouldn't be effective. People wouldn't fall for that if that was the case. They tried that with Jones and realized that you can't just spew complete bullshit constantly, or the simps may catch on eventually. So now they try and do it with like an intellectual twist, and that's basically what Jordan Peterson and Lex Friedman are. They're like simp ranchers for simps that think they're intellectuals, but they're still getting their reality spoon-fed to them by these two clowns, and how to think about that reality and how to think about it. They completely and the other thing you have to understand about these guys, Rogan, Peterson, and Lex, and there's other ones that are very similar. Another one is Timcast. There's so many of them, but if you people don't think that, I mean, you see the censorship that goes on these platforms. If you people don't think that intelligence and think tanks are involved with coordinating these topics with these people, then you don't understand how social engineering in modern America is actually working. It's truly these people are fully just used to feed people the reality that they want them to think about, and then tell them how to think about that reality. That's what these simpcasts are for. It's like these people can't even think for them. They don't want these simps to think at all for themselves anymore. All they want them to do is just tune into these clowns, have them spoon them some gibberish, and then tell them how to contemplate that gibberish. And that's basically what we have. So that's all. I'm gonna try and keep it somewhat short, but there's so many more of these people. Even Low Impact Shill is a low rung simp rancher. He's fully controlled at this point. I'll get to that. You can tell. I'll get to that in a bit, but for now, let's go to the next topic. So the next one is, we'll get to it right now. Billionaires aren't your friend, no matter how many shills they pay to tell you they are. And okay, so now this one's going to be real easy to explain. Any of these people that you see on social media, well, before I even get to that, these like people like Musk and Gates and Bezos and the whole do you know how much money they spend on PR? It's probably tens of millions of dollars that these people are spending in PR to pay these simp ranchers to convince you that these billionaires are your friends. So anytime you see any of these clowns, whenever you see one of these clowns promoting Elon Musk on any of these channels on here, they're fully controlled. If you see somebody promoting Musk, they're either already controlled by Musk and being funded by him, or are hoping to be in the near future. And they think if they could blow enough smoke up Musk's ass that he might throw them some of his marketing money. Musk ain't your friend. He ain't on your side. He's fully getting... It's just totally... I can't believe that people are so fucking stupid to not see that these billionaires are paying huge amounts to simp ranchers like this clown here to make vid after vid after vid trying to convince you that, yeah, billionaire Elon Musk is your friend. He cares about you. That's what Low Impact Shill here wants you to think. Yep. So that was billionaires aren't your friend. The next one is congressional hearings, LOL. Okay. I noticed this from, well, it goes back to it probably even goes back before this, but the furthest one back that I can remember was the Monica Lewinsky trial. And let me just say one thing, is that every single congressional hearing that you have seen in the past since Barack Obama has been it's a nonsensical charade. They are fully meaningless, and I'm talking about this. I'm going to name them all here just so you can understand that what they do is that they use these fake congressional hearings that never lead to anywhere but wasting tax money. What they do is they use these to keep their political charade going after the election is over. That's what all these congressional hearings, it started with the Obama birth certificate. That was the first one. Then after that, we had the Russian hack. Then we had the impeachment. Then we had what was the next one after? Oh, then we had the fake bio attack. The trial with the WWE Fauci versus Rand Paul. The fake bio attack nonsense. Let me explain. All those things are done. It's like it's a way for them to market the reality they want on the political agenda. It's a way to suck people in. Did you notice none of those things I mentioned? The birth certificate, even Lewinsky, but the birth certificate, the Russian hack, the impeachment, and the Fauci WWE with Rand Paul. None of there was a couple other in there too, but let me assure you, none of them ever led to. I forgot the biggest fake one after the Fauci WWE. They started with the insurrection, the AstroTurf insurrection that everybody knows was fake, but they still try and pretend is real. But so that was that. That was the last one. They're probably even still on that fake congressional nonsense. So, but what I want people to understand is the whole reason that they do these congressional things, it's like marketing for their political gibberish. The outcome, there is never any real outcome to it that benefits anybody at all. Nobody gets impeached, none of that. It's all for show. It's all for these people to hold these trials and make a spectacle so that they can use the media to do political nonsense, basically. To dupe idiots on either side to fight with each other over fucking nonsense. So, whenever you hear anything about a congressional hearing, if you were to just turn your TV off and not listen to it, there would never make any difference. Like, if they just didn't tell you about the hearing, there would be no difference. It would just be like a normal day. Nobody would ever hear nothing. But people jump on it, and they don't realize that it's all part of the political charade. So that was congressional hearings, LOL. The next one is minority pimping by the smallest minority. And this one's very important. And I might have touched on this slightly before, but what people have to understand is that the reason for all the censorship that's going on right now, when you can't talk bad about any religion or any group or any this, you can't. I have had the most mundane, like literally from my one account, I think they've completely shut off commenting because I can't even criticize government in even the most basic way. I'm having comments. If I say government is bad, the comment won't be posted. That's the level of censorship that we're at. But I'll get to that in a minute. But what I want to talk about with the minority pimping is the reason that they're doing this, the reason that they're creating this environment where they're catering to all these minorities, and in which most cases a lot of these minorities are being funded from backstage. They're not even really the minority. They're groups representing these minorities that are actually funded from people that have no political affiliation whatsoever. And I'll get to that in a minute. But what you have to understand is that the main reason that they want to cut down any type of criticism of all these groups isn't because they care a single solitary bit about these groups. What they're trying to ensure happens is that in the process of cutting out all your ability to criticize all these groups, that at the same exact time, your ability to criticize the people that are currently holding a tyranny over you, that also gets quelled. So you're not allowed to talk bad about LGBTQ and the people who are enslaving you. So that's the game that these people are playing. It's minority pimping by the smallest minority. This is all about cutting down any criticism of the people who control society at the very top level. It doesn't have to do with gay people. It doesn't have to do with trans in sports. None of that bullshit. It's about them using these small minorities and these groups that represent these minorities who are funded as a way to stop any criticism of authority. That's what's going on here. So that's minority pimping by the smallest minority. The next one is tabloid reality and the fake cancel culture. And the other thing, and I talked about this before, and you know, like I don't ever watch any news or any kind of mainstream news or anything like that, but I was flipping through YouTube the other day, and I happened to see this vid by, let me see if I can find it. It was Tucker Carlson on cancel culture. and it was with some girl. And I gotta see if I can find the girl. I really wish I could find it. Mm, it if I can find it, I'll put it in the link. But it wasn't that old. It was a recent video about. I don't see it on here right away though. But it was just one girl and it was very short. But what I found interesting was that what she said, what this girl said about the cancel culture was exactly what I have been saying in all of my videos since I called it out about 2 years ago when it started. It actually started around 9/11, but that's when they started with the cancel culture, really. That's when it went into full gear, but it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse since then. But what she said is that there is no, the cancel culture is being driven by PR and marketing firms. And this was on Fox News. And of course, they try and pose it as like it's a liberal versus conservative thing on Fox News. Now, they didn't really do it too bad in this video, but that's kind of what they were alluding at. But what they don't tell you, and she said exactly what's going on, that all of the cancel culture and everything that's being spoon-fed to the population about the LGBT and these minority group rights is being funded into existence by think tanks, basically, and PR firms. But what the most, see, and this is what people have to understand, and nobody seems to get this. What her and Tucker conveniently left out while they do their libtard and contard fighting amongst themselves constantly. But what they conveniently left out is that the social engineers who were coordinating all this, the cancel culture that the marketing and PR and think tanks that are coordinating all the fake cancel culture, they sit above both political parties. That's the game. That's part of their game. That's what's being done here. This whole cancel culture it's like I said, it's minority pimping by the smallest minority. And it has nothing to do with left and right. That's just the disguise that's being put on it by the puppet masters that are sitting above it with their little strings with Tucker and his little girl guest. But they leave out they tell you the truth about how it's all happening. It's being marketed into existence. But they don't tell you that the people marketing it into existence are their fucking owners as well. That they're bosses, basically, when it comes down to it. So that's one thing you have to understand about the fake cancel culture and the perception of it, is that these groups are being represented by a small minority of advocacy groups that are fully funded and controlled at the top by think tanks and intelligence. And it's just the way it is. That's modern America. Enjoy it, guys. But it's truly disgraceful, and so many people fall for the cancel. Like, it's so funny that so many people don't realize the reason for cancel culture is for the reaction of the people that are against it. That's the reason that they're marketing it into existence. It's not they want the reaction of the people that are against it. So that, just understand that when you see all their nonsense stories on TV about this person being whatever they call it, canceled or whatever, it's all fucking bullshit. So that was tabloid reality and fake cancel culture. The next one is call for an uprising, low impact shill, and the rest of the fake truth movement. But really, the main one I want to talk about here is call for an uprising, because I think it's very important to understand what this channel is, a call for an uprising. And I talked about this before in the United States AstroTurf. And Christians, call for an uprising is a psychological operation channel. They're a controlled shill channel. and they're targeting Christians. That's the point of that whole thing that they got going on, a call for an uprising. And they're trying to make it like everything's like a tabloid reality, where like they'll feed you 3,000. It's like the tabloid magazines. It's just like the tabloid magazines used to be in the grocery store. They throw you 3,000 fake stories that are total nonsense, and one story that's half true maybe. And they don't, and they're targeting, call for an uprising is targeting Christians, and and there's other channels that are supposedly ran by Christians but are actually targeting Christians. But the other thing, let's see, that's all I want to say about that, is that a call for an uprising is a fucking shill. So just understand, if you're a Christian and think that channel is giving you some accurate info, you're fucking retarded. So that was that. Paid for popularity. Now, that just goes right with this same game that's been being played for a while with Jordan Peterson, Lex Friedman, and Joe Rogan, and that other guy, London Real. There's so many of them, and these people are doing self PR. So like when you see their names, like you see these people's names constantly thrown up, they're constantly being brought up. That's paid for. That's marketing agency and PR firms are being used to put these people in front of you, and I mean, when I get to Johnny Brett and Amber Circus, I'll get to that a little bit more. But what you have to understand is, like, a lot of these simp ranchers do self PR, and they also cross promote. Like, you'll see Joe Rogan and Lex Friedman be on the same show, and Joe Rogan and Alex Jones and Jordan Peterson. It's because they're all part of the same fucking club. And guess what? You ain't in it. They want to trick you to let you believe that they're on your side. But rest assured, they ain't on your side. They're paying, marketing is paying to put them in front of your face. So just beware of the paid for, and Musk. Musk is the biggest one who does this. He pays so much money in PR just so that people like him, basically. Can you imagine being this fucking retard? Having to pay, can you imagine paying a couple $10 million so that a gang of simps supports you and your endeavors? Jesus Christ. We're fucking doomed. These simps are really, they really lost touch of reality now, and everything is just like an information overload, which I'm getting to in a minute. So that was paid for popularity, and the next one is I just want to talk about NASA for a second, because it kind of has to go with paid for popularity, because what people don't understand is that, well, I'm just going to say up front, I do not support NASA or any other government institution at all. None of them. I support zero of them. My personal opinion is that not only should NASA and every other government institution give the wealth they've stolen from me back, but they should also give it back for all the ancestors that they've stolen it from as well. The thing with NASA is that it's used to further develop their scientific ability. And these people think that they're going to build a big enough telescope and they're going to figure out the secret to reality. And sad to say, it's not going to happen. See, and that's the problem as well. Is like, if it turns out that reality is not material, it's not based on material, but it's actually all based on consciousness, then all that wasted resources has been for nothing. Like, I mean, see, I'm more for a simple lifestyle. Like, I just want to be left alone in my garden with my family and let alone to be self-sustaining. I don't need to, I'm not so conceited to think that I could figure out or comprehend the nature of reality in its completeness. So to me, like the whole NASA thing is just a complete waste of resources. $50 million a day, and I'm quoting I forget who the quote's from the laughing stock. $50 million a day from the laughing stock of the world, the American population. That's how much NASA gets a day from the laughing stock of the world, the American population. $50 million. But of tax cattle money, of the Simp's money, goes to NASA. And like, to me, like, and I mean, all you have, what they really, it's just, it keeps this system even go, because all these people for NASA, they're all specialized, they're super specialized in these very specialized fields. They can't survive without this system. They can't survive without all these institutions. All they know is the reality that they've been spoon-fed from the first time they've stepped into school as a child. I think there's a lot more better things that can be done for people on this earth with those resources that are being shot into outer space. And see, the other thing that bothers me about NASA too is that if anything important was ever discovered, let me assure you, the laughingstock of the world, the funders of NASA, the $50 million a day U.S. tax cattle, would never know about it. If NASA ever found out anything important, rest assured, you would not know about it. You may find out about it in about 50 years when they can figure out a way to make money off it. That's when you'll find out about it or sell it back to you. But until then, you won't be finding out about it. So, or use it to enslave you even further. But see, and it's just nonsense. And the other thing about NASA too, and there's this other guy here, and this goes with the self PR. This guy here, he's like a space guy, but if he did this vid the other day. I'm trying to think of where's it at, because he explains it very well, and he does it, and I want to show you the vid so you can listen to what he says on your own. And where's it at? Something about the size of lenses. I think it's this one right here, actually. This one from 23 hours ago. But about the size of the lenses. But what he says is very telling, and this is why I can't stand NASA or any other government institution. It's not just NASA. I'm just using them as an example here because they're one of the worst. Well, they're not even, but they do a lot of PR. So here's what he says in this vid. He's talking about these telescopes, and he says in the mid-90s, NASA was kind of falling out of interest, and we weren't hearing anything about them. And then he says, until they started doing heavy PR and marketing their projects and getting everybody interested. So, and that's the other thing these people are doing. These simps are trying to have you believe that these corporations' PR and manipulating your reality is like some sort of benefit to humanity. Yeah, it's a great thing that NASA started spending $1 million a day out of the 50 we give them on manipulating us into giving a shit about what they're doing. And that's exactly what they do. They spend huge amounts of money in PR to get people to back and want these projects. It's total waste of tax cattle resources. We could be using all those resources on Earth. It's just a total waste of money. Like I said, if they ever found anything important, you'd be the last person to know about it. Rest assured. Until they can figure out a way to use it to enslave you further. So the next one is information overload. And Melissa kind of talked about this from Truth Through Media, where there's just so much information. And this was talked about. I remember this being talked about. I remember reading it in an article where the goal was to just put out so much information and so much of it to be pure nonsense and have no basis in reality, that if people were trying to decipher through this information, they'd have a real hard time coming to terms with what's actually going on. That's why, like me personally, I base very little of my reality on any sort of media whatsoever. I mean, I base my reality on the weather that when I go outside that day, and whatever I deal with and encounter in my daily life. At this point, with the amount of manipulation that's going on right now in society, I mean, anything short of that, you're going to have to do some real heavy research into the topics that you're being told about or being shown, because there's so much bullshit information out there that you'll never be able to. It would take years for you to come to grips with what's going on with the world if you were to try and go through all the information that's being put out. So that was information overload. The next one is the Johnny Brett and Amanda Circus trial. And I mean, that one pretty much speaks for itself. And that's the other thing I want to talk about. And this goes into like the Hollywood shills and clowns and jesters. These Hollywood people are used, and what you have to understand is these people also are heavily they have publicists, and they have people doing PR for them, and there's a lot more going on behind the scenes with these people than what you're led to believe by their little court trial. Not even with Johnny Brett and Amanda Circus, but a lot of these Hollywood people they have publicists who give them what's the word I'm looking for? Instructions, basically. On what they need to do to help their image and PR and all that type of thing. And like, it's like, I don't know if anybody saw the what the hell is that girl's name from Transformers with Megan Fox, the Call for an Uprising, covered it the other day about her going on that thing and talking about drinking blood. These people are catering. These people are fucking with you, literally. They are catering to. This is all. It's all coordinated by publicists. She's not going to get on there and make those type of remarks unless she's being told to go on there and make those type of remarks. It's totally blatantly obvious that so much of what these people say, and that then later you're presented with by all these shills, it's coordinated. These people are bought and paid for, these Hollywood people, to even base and the sports people as well. They're no better. To base any of your reality on something that they say or something that they pretend that they believe or anything like that, you're a sucker, because these people are all in it they just want to be in the spotlight. So they're going to do whatever their masters tell them that keeps them in the good graces of the people that shine the light on them. So that's Johnny Brett and Amanda Circus. The next one here is censorship. Now, it's gotten, I can't even tell you how bad. Now, I can only speak for YouTube, because that's the only platform that I use. I don't use any other social media, and I only use YouTube because I have another channel on here that I use for work-related purposes and other stuff as well, hobby stuff. But so I just want to say that, like, it's gotten to the point now where I can't even make any sort of criticism I make of government does not show up. It's completely. And I also wanted the way the censorship is being done on YouTube has fundamentally changed. Before about 2 months ago, if YouTube was going to censor your comments, like in the comments section of a video, they would censor that comment and it would be deleted from everywhere. So even if you were signed in under that account and YouTube censored one of your comments, you wouldn't be able to see that comment wouldn't be visible. And what they've done now is they've changed it. So it's not like that anymore. So now when YouTube censors your comments, they now, if you're signed in under that screen name, you will still see the comment. But if you're to sign in under another name and go look for that comment, it won't be there. And now they've gone full retard with their censorship. They're just censoring everything, basically. Anything that's critical of comments. Now, you have better luck going through vids because, like, honestly, if you have something important you want to say, you're better off making a vid about it because their censorship's much... I think the people who are in control of censoring the comments are different from the people that are in control of censoring the videos, is what it comes down to. Because I think the comments censoring gets outsourced to somebody, where I think the videos they keep in-house, because I've had comments deleted for saying things that I've said in every one of my past videos. So, I mean, the sense, and I mean, you know what? It's actually kind of good because it shows you the desperation. These people, see, and that's the other thing that people need to understand. And it's kind of it's like a vicious cycle, because here's what's happening. The people in control are starting to realize that there's a number of people that are onto the scam, and what that's causing is it's causing them to push harder to try and control and manipulate people even more and more and more. And when they do that, when they try and use these psychological operations and control schemes to manipulate people, it's waking more and more people up, and it's causing them to double down even more, to try and do even more elaborate schemes. And it's really gotten to the point now where it's just totally out of control. I mean, it's a total 95% of the U.S. population lives in a fully controlled fantasy reality. They have no concept of anything else other than what has been spoon-fed to them for generations. And I mean, sadly, I don't see any way out of that. It's just, really. I mean, I think the only thing we can do at this point is individually try and make your own way, try within the bounds of this nonsensical farce system, and try and beat it from within in your own way, and try to not let it affect your life as least as possible, because there's so many people that are fully out of touch with reality at this point that there's not going to be I just don't see there any way of getting out of it on a collective level, because there's too many people who have no desire to even contemplate the reality they exist in. They want to just take what's been spoon-fed to them for generations and be comfortable with that. And if they think because they got a little McMansion with a half acre of backyard that they've succeeded and figured out the purpose of life. And there's no way that that's going to get fixed, because it's too hard for a lot of these people, for them to come to terms with what's really going on in this society. It would mean that they'd have to completely go against the past however many years they've been around, years of indoctrination. And that's not something that most people are willing to do. So, I mean, I just think if you want to make it, you're going to have to find your own way in this system to try and be as self-sustaining and separate yourself from the retard simps as much as you possibly can. And the last thing on my list is it's a war and you are the enemy. Um, just understand that. If you're watching this video and you have any of the sort of same beliefs that I do, there is a war against you. So just be strong and make sure you're mentally ready, because it's not gonna get any better. So just make sure you're healthy and you keep your wits about you, because this nonsense system is just gonna descend further and further into nonsense until it completely collapses in on itself. But so that's all I wanted to say. I hope it wasn't too depressing. But I hope you're all doing well and take care. And I'm going to be making some gardening vids in the next couple weeks. We've had some crappy weather. It's been raining for like, I don't even know, for a long time. It's raining now. It won't stop raining. But as soon as the rain stops, I'm going to start making some gardening vids. It's getting pretty close to. I've already got a lot of stuff planted, but I still got some tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that to plant. But I'll be making some of them vids too. Alrighty guys, take care.